Hey, how's it going guys? Ancient Rune here, back with another Borderlands 3 build video, and today I'll be going over Mad Glani and I's melee Moze called Cub Stab. This build focuses on spamming Fishslap and Stinger with the Flame class mod and Moze's skill, ending up being similar to the classic Rack Stab and my own Mantis Stab. We also use Sparkplug to constantly apply a fire dot for easy flame up times. This is a really fun build that I enjoy because it just kind of does stuff a little bit differently while being able to use the Stinger and grenades like the Fishslap a bunch. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel. The save file will be found in my Discord, which is linked down below, and I hope you guys enjoy. Alright, and first off for the gear, we use our main holding weapon, which I like to use the Psycho Stabber, but you could also use a Guardian Angel with the melee blade. I like to use URAD here for strong rad explosions, and because I go points into superior firepower, it's just the dots are even stronger, and I easily have skill points to get thin red line for easy URAD uptime. Otherwise, you could use like ASE melee or 150 over 90, and that would also do really good for either of these, but I prefer Psycho Stabber the most. Then, because Moze can kind of be slow, I like to have a EMP5, just anyone works. And then here I have a Face Puncher, times 7 or times 14 will work. Parts don't really matter, but you use this with ASE melee apply terror for getting V1 damage here. Because we are not using the flare, Moze does not have any access to V1 on this build, so having this extra terror is really good, especially if you don't have as good gear here. And then I have a back burner with Cub weapon damage 150, but the anointment doesn't matter, maybe going URAD or consec hits, something that'll increase your damage, since this Cub anointment is broken on swap and we'll be swapping to this, so we won't have this anointment active. This is just to kill Cub if you need to go somewhere and it can't kill any enemies where you are. You just quickly shoot it and it goes down, and then you can reproc it. And then we have the Stinger shield. We use this for the melee Nova, and as well, when full, it gives a 50% melee damage increase. This is V2 damage, so this will help boost the Fishslap, and it is additive with the Guardian Angel V2 damage, so just keep that in mind. But that damage increase will not be active when the Stinger Nova goes off, so just keep that in mind. And then you'll want to use action skill start here, so whenever we activate Iron Bear, it will go and proc this and go to Stinger. And then once it goes away, have Flame proc it, and then we activate again, just a constant cycle of Stinger Novas. And you'll want to go Cryo for superior firepower, boosting the Cryo damage. And then we have a Fishslap here. Ideally, you want triple link parts, but Reuter is the second best part. That's because this 50% damage increase will even work on one enemy, and then if you have two enemies there, that's 100%, and it just gets stronger and stronger. And you'll want this ideally with Cryo, again because of superior firepower. It will make it so it's stronger than Corrosive, and Corrosive is very common, or armor bars are very common in endgame. Otherwise, you'll want to element match. I don't really element match on here, but I would do more damage if I did do so. And then we have the Terra V1 again. When I was talking about the Face Puncher, that V1 damage will be 35%, and it'll be a pure mult in this build. And then we have the Flame class mod. This is what makes this all possible. Whenever Moze ignites an enemy, a 15% chance to restart her action skill. So we do that while blowing up Cub constantly, and so we constantly get back Flame, so we can have Stinger going. Without this, it would just be a Fishslap spam build, and that's not as fun, is it? So for the Flame, the top skill rolls do not matter. I just kind of go nitro engines, but you could probably be better to go really big guns, just for the increased damage, so it's easier for a Cub to kill itself. Even though it's not too hard to do it with the stuff we do, it really does not matter at all. The main thing you want are the bottom passives. Now I'd say the most important parts here are the splash damage and splash radius, especially the splash radius, because it will boost the Nova size of the stinger, and it'll also boost the splash radius of the Fishslap. So having that is really important. Melee damage is also really important since we don't have it anywhere else. I would probably, if you're not using perfect gear and farming, whatever, if you need splash or melee, depending on what you have on these stats, compare with that. So if you don't have any melee damage here on your artifact, then melee damage will be a lot more important on your Eternal Flame. While if you don't have splash damage on your artifact, now generally I wouldn't go with one without it, I'll go over that in a second, but if you didn't have splash damage here, then splash damage is a lot more important on this flame. So that's just to keep in mind. Not really many alternative passives here. You could make some cases for some stuff like crit damage or Hyperion crit if you use a Guardian Angel, because the static charge can crit, as well as the Spark Plug. I like to just go with these rolls and focus purely on the melee damage side. Now for the Spark Plug, this is also a big part, as I said earlier, to Eternal Flame. This will constantly be proccing damage over time to enemies, not status effects, and then because your action skill will be on cooldown, you'll have big surplus, which is fire, and that will constantly be applying fire dots everywhere to wherever the chains can reach, so that will be constant flame time. And without the Spark Plug, the uptime is night and day, so it is really nice to have the Spark Plug, and definitely want. And then static charge is also really important because it has the chains. You don't need to slide to make the chain, you can just melee enemies and the chain will proc, but sliding will build up the damage for the chain, but you don't really need to do that much. Those chains will apply to any melee damage, including Fishslap and Stinger, so it is really important to have it. I guess if you couldn't find a good one, then you could get like a Victory Rush, maybe a White Elephant. That's really all I can think of, but yeah, Spark Plug is the best part to do here. And then the main passive you're going to want to look out for is the area of effect damage in your second or third slot. This is, I don't know if this is second or third, but this is because I have a double roll melee damage, just because melee damage is really good here, because Moze doesn't have it besides her class mod here with the passive, but you'll want it in the second or third slot. If it's double roll, it'll show like this in the second slot to get that increased splash radius to boost the Stinger Nova size and the Fishslap radius. As well, you could also go elemental damage. Now because I'm using cryo, I already have like 100% cryo damage, so I don't need more elemental, but if you have other elements, that can also be very impactful. Alright, and then first off, we will start in the blue tree. We go fire in the Skag Den. This is because we're doing splash stuff. We'll get some fire in the Skag Den going on, and then means of destruction. Whenever Moze deals splash damage, there's a chance to add ammo to her currently equipped weapon magazine, or return grenades, and grenades is the big part here. Stinger and Fishslap both get splash damage, so that means they will be splashed and be able to activate means of destruction, which is very nice to have that 6% chance, especially when we're dealing a bunch of damage in areas from huge splash radius, and torque cross promotion helps that. Now there is stuff to make it so you can have torque cross promotion active more, and we won't have it as much here, but sometimes it will be active, where all splash damage dealt by Moze has a chance to double in size and gain more splash damage. Now we're always gaining the splash damage, which is really good. It honestly makes this splash passive here not as needed, to where you can just go to melee damage and splash radius, so just keep that in mind. But we have that, and then the splash radius is mainly for Stinger. Now it's technically not double, and it's plus 100%, as that will be double the base splash radius, but since we have other splash radius boost here, it's not exactly gonna be 100%, but with perfect gear and tour cross motion, you can have up to 200% increased, a little less, but around 200% increased splash radius, which is crazy. And then we have Stainless Steel Bear. This is to boost Skagden here for the main part. It doesn't really help too much elsewhere. None of these skills help. Deadlines don't want Cup active. Grizzle don't need it because of Flame being active very easily. Auto Bear does nothing. Pull the Holy Pin doesn't do anything for our grenade because it counts as melee and not a grenade, so it can't crit. And so this crit hit does nothing here. Vampire here, I don't know if it would work with Fishslap. I'd assume not. So it doesn't really help here much. And we have like stuff like biofuel and Russian offensive, as well as going URAD means health return isn't as important. But we take 2 points here to get down the tree. Just some nice extra grenade capacity is good. And I guess grenade capacity could also be good on class mod, to be honest. Just to be able to throw some more and not have to worry as much about conserving your grenades. And then we have To the Last. To the Last is very important here because this means we can throw our Fishslaps while in Fight for Your Life. And this is how we'll get out of Fight for Your Life. Because Moze and just in general here will have large splash radius, it's likely you might mess up and go down from your own Fishslap grenades, or just an enemy might happen to get you. So having To the Last is super important and honestly an underrated skill. Now we don't need to go short fuse here because we are not shooting guns for any damage here. And then we have here, we're just basically trying to get to Thin Red Line for the URAD Anoint activation. You just go Infiltrate, get some meh damage reduction, doesn't do anything here, but nothing else helps. So then we get Thin Red Line here. And then Green Tree, we mainly want to go down to here, but also a lot of other good stuff. Cloud of Lead, just because it'll technically help Face Puncher not consume as much. And then we have Daka Bear here purely for increasing Iron Cut damage, so it's easier to hurt itself. So that is very nice, but you could also just move it in the Cloud of Lead. Stoke the Embers to increase fire damage, such as Big Surplus and Fire in the Skagden. Redistribution, if you ever score a crit with something, you get some health regen. The ammo does not really help much here. The crits would be Spark Plug and Static Charge happening, so it'll still be pretty active to have this up, which will be nice. Scrappy here is really good because of the weapon swap speed. We have 48% swap speed. That is very nice, and that'll mean swapping to the Face Puncher for Terror is a lot easier. You have to be moving, but it's pretty easy to do that. And then we have Russian Offensive, Sprinting and Shooting. Because anything can proc it, having just a Spark Plug down and then running will make the lifesteal pretty easy. And if you have a Guardian Angel active, that'll be even more damage for Spark Plug. So if you wanted to use Spark Plug more for damage as well, you could equip a Guardian Angel there. And then we have Scorching RPMs. This gives crit damage, which doesn't matter much, but it also boosts our Skagden and Big Surplus, so that is why we go there. And then for the purple tree, we're mainly going down to superior firepower. We take really big guns for increased damage for Cub to hurt itself quicker. You technically only need 1 point in Big Surplus, but since there is some downtime of Cub, having 3 points can be really good for grenades. Biofuel for the health regen for us, which is really nice. And then we have double time. This will be nice, just extra movement speed while Cub is up. But since it's down a lot, it's not the best thing, but it's better than anything else. Because Explosive Fury doesn't work, this status effect chance here is no good, and we don't really need Fired Up here. And then I just go big guns for just some dump points, really. It gives some cooldown rate, which is nice if you're out of combat, and that's like the most it does here. And then we go superior firepower. Because it says status effect damage and Cryo does not have a status effect, it just gives cryo damage. Now this is not for everything that gives status effect damage. I think it's only for superior firepower and executor class mod on Zane's. Cryo gives cryo damage instead of status damage. But say like if this worked, it probably wouldn't give cryo damage. The status effect anointments don't give cryo damage, but that's just a really good thing here. And then you'll see that this gives damage, which I've been taking damage stuff, but it also gives a lot of damage resistance to Cub, so getting feature creep is a big no. So just keep that in mind. And then this cooldown isn't really needed, and running on fumes does nothing for us. And then of course we use Iron Cub. I just like to take baby nukes because it's fun, but you technically don't need anything here. You don't want to take fuel for the fire to restore armor. I guess you could go incendiary stuff for like proccing biofuel, or like superior firepower. Efficiency engines doesn't matter because Cub is never up. So you could basically just take this out and just Cub would be good here. And then there's two ways that you can blow up Cub really good. First is Salamander with Molten Roar. It just does a big splash area on the ground, and that will deal self damage to Cub, and it's the fastest way to kill it. But not every build will be going down this deep into the green tree, so it's not always taken, but it is really nice. The other way is to take the grenade rocket launchers and go like lock and speed loaded. Basically just grenade launchers in general will be really good, so just whichever one you want to take, but Molten Roar is usually the better option with the salamanders. I hope you guys enjoyed the build video. This build is super fun, but also a bit gear specific. Thankfully, because of the damage formula, some of your choices aren't that needed. Sparkplug is also kind of a unique way to proc flame, so I have fun using it that way, and Sparkplug is just a lot of fun. Again, you can find the save file in my Discord, which is linked down below, as well as my other socials. If you haven't, I would really appreciate it if you would like and subscribe, and I will see you guys next time. Peace.